Welcome to Hat-Trick City on WXCI 91.7, Danbury's only all-hockey radio show.
I know that some in our audience don't know the finer points of hockey.
You want me to dummy you again?
Hat-tricks, baby! Woo-hoo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Hat-Trick City, the first episode of the off-season. I'm your host, DJ Patty Cake, as always, joined by DJ Uncle Matt here in the studio. And, you know, it's been a little bit, pretty much on par with 2 months since we've won the championship. So we've been kind of doing our own things, but I know I've been pretty vocal about, you know, I've been doing baseball and just kind of finding my way around that. Matt, what have you been up to lately?
I have been doing a lot of writing. I've been working on, some people, listeners know, I've been working on a book about Danbury hockey for a few years now, and I've been spending my time doing that and working on various writing projects as we kind of near, again, the start of the semester here at WestConn. It's coming up quicker than you think because we're already almost at the end of July, right? So we're almost back. That's what I've been doing. I've been playing some beer league hockey, as I always do. Be playing next weekend in Atlantic City, so I'll finally have like a little kind of total break. I won't be bringing my laptop down there or anything like that. I'll just be kind of focused on having a good time, but then it's kind of back to work, and there's a lot on my plate at the moment, as you know, but it's great to be back in the studio where we do have so much fun, and the good times are still rolling, you know, after the championship.
Of course, and, you know, there's been some developments that have come about relating to the league, relating to the hat-tricks since we've, you know, last come on here and had our own episode. The biggest of that being our season schedule for the 2023-24 season. So, you know, we're going to kind of break that down a little bit. We're not going to go too in-depth, but just talk about how the schedule looks overall, home and on the road. I know from first thoughts when I saw it, pretty repetitive. I mean, we play Binghamton 9 times on each sphere, and we play Port Huron 5 times at home as well, and then it's mostly just circulating the 3 or 4 teams in the area with like 2 special other appearances by Carolina and
Motor City.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
You know, I think I always take a historical approach when we look at things like this and we get questions asked, but I don't think that anybody, Don Kiernan, Herm, people that have been in the FHL since day one, I don't think any of them ever intended a team in Watertown having to play against a team in Columbus, Georgia on any type of regular basis.
Yeah.
I think that was probably fair to say that, you know, not last season, but probably the season before that, those teams probably saw each other a few times just because there were less teams in the league and it was a kind of return year from COVID. Look, this is independent, minor league, professional sports. This isn't, you know, these contracts and the pay and the cost of everything, it's not underwritten or supplemented in any way by an NHL team. It's big pocketed, you know, anything like that. So it comes down to, if the league is going to grow, it has to grow divisionally. And that's what happened here. I mean, you've got a Virginia team kind of sliding right into where Delaware was, right, in the division. And we're seeing the same teams over and over. I don't think anybody wanted this. I think most of the fans love the idea of some of these guys coming into town for the weekend from far away places like Biloxi, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you know, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and, you know, making a weekend of it. You know, these long bus rides, They've been part of minor league lore forever. You and I have been on some long bus rides with the team. Billy McCreary has stories about bus rides that just never end. Yeah, I don't think anybody who bought a team in this league at any point thought that there were going to be these huge road trips. And it's the distance and the hospitality expenses that come into it, the cost of feeding groups of guys that are on the road like that. And it might not be that bad if you could guarantee yourself ice time when you go to these faraway trips. But I'm gonna say, just based on my experience, that's not always the case. It is many times the case, but it's not always the case that the hat-tricks will get ice time on the road to keep their legs ready when they play these away games. So, what can you say? I think it's a little disappointing because you want to see at least one trip or something like that, but the league just isn't set up like that right now. How could Watertown, that has 1,000-seat rink, how could they really afford to travel to a Columbus, and I know they have some road trips on their schedule, but to do it that often, I think puts those teams at a disadvantage. And it's a shame. The interdivisional type play really makes things interesting at times, especially when some of the teams down south, just the way the fans interact on Facebook and stuff like that. You kind of want to see those head-to-head matchups in the Federal League. But I'm sure that this format and this configuration that the league is in right now, where the travel's just going to be cut, it looks like literally to a quarter, at least half of what it was last season. I'm sure this is what the ownerships wanted. And I'm sure that Elmira, being league run, Don Kieran and them going to operate that team. I'm sure that they, had no intention of running a team that was going to visit all of those places this season. I don't know what their schedule looks like either, but just the way the things boil down. And the Virginia team, that team isn't even ready.
Yeah, no.
So I'm not sure what's happening there either. That may be a situation where they play, but can we get their schedule up?
Which one?
Virginia hockey team, whatever it's going to be called, the Virginia Nameless Hockey Club.
Yeah, Wytheville County or whatever.
No, I think they're going to be Virginia.
Oh, they're just going with Virginia? Okay, well,
yeah.
I'm still going to put in Wytheville because that's what we're still calling it on the schedules and whatnot.
I just, is there a place called the Apex Center? Is that their place?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
just don't know, man. They don't have a logo. They haven't really revealed any pictures from that construction in a while. I just don't know. Maybe we can go quickly to their Facebook page. I haven't seen anything from them. Again, it's.
I can tell you this: the last thing I saw from them was back in May. And remember when we watched the breaking news headline in November?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same. No change whatsoever. It looked exactly the same.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't think they're even close to having a place ready. For the season. They said a 9-month turnaround, but I don't know. That doesn't sound like it's in the cards for them with those kind of pictures. Yeah, their Facebook is just a W with a coming soon header.
It's a generic blue W.
Yeah,
with no. It's like a blue-black background on top of a blue letter. June
13th, the floor is going in, and then these are the pictures that they have. So I guess they have a floor, but barely. It's looks like a go-kart
This
track.
Doesn't look like it's going to be a successful venture. Again, we've seen situations like this in the past where it just doesn't look like they could get things done fast enough. And one of the things that I want to suggest here on Hat-Trick City is any team in the Federal League, and I hope that some other fans out there, maybe in Elmira, anywhere. Listen to this. If a new team is coming into the league, team that wants to create a new logo, new image, new brand, contact Dom Alessandro. That's the best. That's the best advice. This guy has done dozens of logos through the years for sports now. The guy is on the top of the world in the advertising, brand packaging kind of graphic design, doing stuff with Goya, doing stuff with just a bunch of different companies. Obviously, we've gone over his resume 100 times on this show, but it's out there. You know, you can reference his interview with us if you want to see what he's all about. The reality is, a sports venture, if you have the money to rent a rink, like the rink in Baton Rouge, like the rink in Elmira, you're going to need to use some of that money to actually create the brand and the logo and the image that you are going to be touting, that you are going to be selling, essentially. You know, spend a little time on a little research and development and come up with something good. I couldn't be more disappointed with what Elmira came out with. I mean, the River Sharks is terrible. Has anybody thought about this? The River Sharks and the River Dragons are the exact same thing. They're both mythical creatures of a river that live in a river.
I mean, sharks are real, but in the sense that they're living in a river.
They don't live in a river.
They don't live in rivers.
They don't
I
live
get
in
what
a
you're
river.
saying, but
no, it's mythical to think
that they live in a river.
That a shark would be living in a river, right?
Yeah.
It's not mythical that a shark exists.
Yeah.
A dragon is completely fictitious, right? Fake.
No, of course.
It's fantasy. So, right. So it's all make believe that they're basing this shit on. It's the same thing. Listen, if you really wanted to use the river, there's already a river team in the league. There's already 2 Wolves teams. Why not just River Hounds or something like that? Dogs are so popular. People love dogs. People love like a good-looking picture of a dog. Elmira River Hounds, you know what I mean? I just don't think that this was literally something that seemed like it was decided in about 35 seconds. You know what? Let's make it something, real, like we haven't heard before, It's just ridiculous.
Put the sharks in a river.
No one's ever heard of that. The Elmira River Sharks. It's done. It was just, again, I do like what they're doing with that team, though. They're active. They're picking up guys that probably should have been on teams all season last year. Grant Mentis got picked up. Former hat-trick Kodiak White Duck signed with them. Obviously, Justin Schmidt. Obviously, Luke Richards will be returning. Solis, right? So, again, hopefully they'll be competitive. But, not leaving a lot to be desired with the logo type of thing. And, again, I think this is something. I mean, was this done for free? If it was, it's obvious. And if it wasn't done for free, you just went to the wrong guy. You know what I mean? You just went to the wrong guy.
I mean,
we have a guy here in Danbury who's great. He's designed logos. Contact him.
I mean, compared to the Mammoth, which was
I don't know. I think the Mammoth was better. Was better. No question.
Better name. Not better logo, though.
Better logo. This crest is complete. This is a crest. That's not a logo.
Do you realize, though, that this Mammoth, they literally found this out within days of the announcement that this is a clip art that you can get on a royalty-free website for free?
I realize that completely, but it's a crest. It's an actual
it's a nice
logo.
Crest.
It's an actual logo.
Well,
the other thing is
they have this one, too, though.
That's awful. What is that other thing? A plate? The shark is the same color. What is that?
Collectible plate. Yeah, they're bringing that back. You're going to have that at the merch stand.
Oh, God. Plates. That's a terrible, terrible logo. Just really bad.
Just to clarify, we're commenting on the circular logo that...
It looks like it's a Frisbee team.
You've been doing
Elmira,
Ultimate, right?
I've been following Ultimate. It's a great sport. If you're into a summer game, American Ultimate Disc League. New York Empire's undefeated right now. See what happens tonight.
Disc Sharks.
The Disc Sharks, dude. Yeah. And then you get into the situation with Baton Rouge, which, again, not crazy about the logo. Zydeco, Baton Rouge Zydeco. It's a music that's kind of founded in the Creole tradition of Louisiana, which I have a lot of respect for, especially all the jazz history out of New Orleans and all that stuff. But I think my biggest problem with it is the bridge, which I understand it's probably local significance, but there's just too much going on. There's just too much marriage here. The bridge... you know who would have been a great guest to have on today was Dom Alessandro to talk about this.
Yeah.
But the bridge combined with the fleur-de-lis and the hockey stick there in the Zydeco Z. Here's the thing. It's a music, and there's absolutely no kind of acknowledgement of that. There's no way to reference that. So I wouldn't even know. I thought it was the name of some construction company or some mail enhancement product that may have been distributed locally down there.
I mean, then too, just at a first glance, I thought this was a mountain. I couldn't even tell that was like a bridge until like really just sitting down and looking at it for like a longer than just a glance. And then for me, I really can't just like I don't like how the stick is crooked like that. I feel like they could have done a tighter wrap around and it would just go up. You know what I mean? Like, I think someone did a redesign, so credits to them, blanking on the name, but someone redesigned it, and it looked way nicer than what they actually made. I can find that and then source it, but if you want to...
It'd be great to take a look at what that guy did, but I can tell you that it's going to look funny on a jersey, that logo. It's you need a crest or a circular type of a thing. I mean, we don't necessarily have that with the hat tricks, but the jersey looks great, and it's been that way for a number of years. Again, this doesn't.
I don't know.
This doesn't tell me music. That doesn't tell me music.
It's still. I don't know. It's just a neater logo. I mean, they ditched the bridge entirely, and then they just made the stick in it.
No, you know what that looks like? That looks like the original Trashers logo that AJ shows people sometimes. It's word Trashers with like a hockey stick underneath or something like that.
Yep.
It just was a little vapid, again, compared to what Dom Alessandro did.
Yeah.
But
shout out to Tim's Garage BR, by the way. That's who redesigned it. I don't want to go on crediting.
Let me see his thing.
That's the comparison of the two.
See, I think he's done a neat job there, but that looks like, to me, not again, Tim's Garage Baton Rouge, he did a beautiful job. What I would say is editing and refining that logo, that original logo. But I don't think that that's a crest of a front of a sweater. You dig what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
That looks like a great shoulder patch, especially the Tim's Garage version. It's night and day, just a little more. It's just a better package there. It looks a little cooler. The bridge confuses things. Like if it was the Zydeco bridge, I mean, maybe it would make sense. I don't know, but Tim's Garage is a fresher, neater approach on what they've done. But again, it not taking anything away from his work, it doesn't look like the front of a jersey to me.
Yeah.
I was thinking that it would be a horn of some type. Obviously, when it's anything Louisiana, it's the fleur-de-lis logo, which is, for reference, it's a New Orleans Saints helmet logo.
Yep.
A number of things you see that logo on, really worldwide. Again, here's the question is, who do you think was the better? I think it's Zydeco, but again, the name means a lot locally, and we're going to see after the first season if it really sticks. You know what I mean? If they feel... I think a big thing about the name, Pat, when you think of the name of a team, when you come up with a logo, a standard, are you going to be able to sell this? You know what I mean? Are you going to be able to sell this to sponsors?
Yeah, because you got to market that in a way that looks appealing to sponsors, that they'll want to put that on their products or have their name sided with this.
Are you going to be able to come up with clever marketing schemes around that name? So I think when it comes to logos and names, you have to be very careful. There must have been something that just prevented them from doing the Baton Rouge Kingfish.
I was going to say, I feel like they could have went back to that, no problem, because people loved that team when it was there.
I think that, how that works is very simple. If the name slips into public domain, and this is pretty much highly verifiable. I have a buddy who does this pretty much all day, just for giggles and kicks. But if the name slips into public domain, you can just take it.
Yeah.
So if somebody is failing to file, the Kingfish name ceases to file for those rights. Essentially, anybody could pick it up. There might be some refusal process or something, but I think that generally people want to come up with their own name. That's one thing, and then the other thing is there are some people out there that are going to pay for those rights forever because they don't want people taking what they created. It would be exactly like if the Galantes had let the name Danbury Trashers slip into the public domain, which, believe it or not, I think it was for a while.
It was, and then right before the documentary came out, AJ redid all the paperwork.
He got it again.
Got it.
And the idea with that is, I don't think it's a secret. If the name had slipped into public domain, that you wouldn't want to do it with the Galantes, but I mean, like, if the name had slipped into public domain, that would have left the door open for some future tenant of Danbury Arena to say, hey, I want to bring back the name. What usually happens, I think, in a lot of these sports is years ago, minor league sports was a little different. There wasn't really the money in the merch and selling things online and the sponsorship that there is today. Mm-hmm. And years ago, teams would get sold, or sometimes owners would just kind of step away from it and say, hey, I had 5 good years. I can't really own this anymore. It's just, we won the championship one year, and I kept it going for 3 years after that. Probably should have stopped. And they pass the team on. It ends up in a trust or something like that. But today it's a little different. And I also think really surprised this offseason at the approach that these teams took. This Baton Rouge team, we're here in the middle of July. That's their announcement for a team name is coming basically in the middle of July. I mean, we're at July 14th. I think that the name came out 2 days ago.
Yes.
We're recording on July 14th, and the name didn't come out until July 12th. I mean, I would love to know the exact date that the Mississippi Seawolves announced their name, and I would love to know the exact date that the Motor City Rockers announced their name, because this just seems way out of protocol. And then you have the Wytheville, Virginia team, which still hasn't announced the name. So, Pat, you're into the Savannah Bananas and all that stuff, and everybody who probably listens to the show, you guys have access to ESPN Plus and all these other things that are showing sports, right? I just think you'd take a way more aggressive approach to owning a minor league team in 2023 than these two teams did. I mean, I don't know what the resources of these teams are, but you need unlimited money to do unlimited things. But at the same time, you want to get that logo out there. You want to get the brand around town, get people excited about seeing these games, get people excited about the new brand of hockey representing their town. And I just think that these two teams are failing to do that right now. I mean, the Day Herm and, the ownership group, the Diamonds, Chris, Billy was involved. These guys took Danbury Arena back. There was no doubt there was going to be a Federal Hockey League team in there. And I think just that alone built up a lot of hype, and then when the logo comes out, it's even bigger, and it just seems like these teams were run. I don't want to say unprofessionally because that sounds really sharp. I've had my bad days too, but just without that sense of urgency that you'd think a new business would want to kind of operate with. You want to go out there and you want to get your logo out there. You want to start, bringing in pint glasses to breweries and season ticket info and pocket schedules. I mean, whatever the heck it is, you want to do it.
I mean, so it looks like to me what the first iteration of the Seawolves were coming back was February 15th of last year.
Ridiculous.
So
now we're in July and one of the teams still hasn't announced a name. And you'd think, I don't even know when the training camps open in this league for, September, October.
Yeah, I think it might be sometime late next month, if I'm not mistaken. I might, don't quote me on that. I'm going to check that out in a second. But
I just think that it takes so long to do everything. Even what we've done with the Mustache Classic, I've tried to start earlier and earlier every year so we can just get that much further ahead. It's impossible at times. It's really tough. But the tradition is just kind of out of whack here. You usually have your name out by, if you're going to play that next fall, I think you want to have your name out by I would think February or March of that winter, the latest.
Yeah, because they announced it pretty much 2 months after they had those exhibition games.
Yeah.
So they were pretty much ready to go. I bet they were ready to go as soon as those games had begun. Even
well, I think that they made a statement at one point saying that they didn't have everything in place and it was a process. But especially for this Virginia team, they're going to own their own building, I guess, and they're going to be housed in there. It's maybe they're not going to own the building, but a team is going to be propped up there. You'd think that being that the rink is in an area where the immediate population just isn't that high, you would think you were going to do 1 year of promotion to see if you could get. This is what happened to the first few Federal League teams. There just wasn't enough history there in the beginning. Mm. And if you got a late start, it hurt you. I hope this is not the sign of bad things to come. But I do think that, look, the Danville Dashers kind of got a really rocky start, and they were around about 10 years, I think.
Yeah,
if you look up their numbers. So I wish everybody involved the best. The people that I've talked to in the league really aren't that worried. But, yeah, I think this was, I think if Delaware was going to come back, I'd be a little more at ease, Mm-hmm. It's nice to see Elmira get on level feet. Hopefully they'll find a new owner for that team in the next year or two. Believe me, they probably won't be the Elmira River Sharks that long, because if a new owner comes along, he's probably going to want to at least change that logo. And I think Elmira Riverhounds would have been better. It's a jackal isn't a dog, but something kind of like that. You know what I mean? Would have been a little more, just a little more appropriate. But again, I like what those guys are doing in Elmira. It seems like, this is a league of opportunity. Mm. So these guys, they got Tyler Jurich, and I believe the other guy is MJ Merkel.
Yes. Yep.
And he'll be coaching, assistant coach there. So, listen, these guys are going to go, they're going to try and get things done up there. They're building a team. Looks like young guys, looks like some guys with experience. So it really, I think they have a better shot than either of those Southern teams to do anything, to get back. Those guys that are going to be playing in Elmira, they got fans around the league, and they They know the area a little bit up there already. Some of the guys who played on Elmira last year. I think they'll be okay. And I know Ron Rogel is very happy about the situation in Elmira because he's a big supporter of Elmira hockey.
I mean, yeah. And to go back with camps, I couldn't really find a training camp date, but a lot of the free agency camps are either early August or like ours. The Hat Trick's going to be in September. So.
You know what's crazy? I really wish we could go back to you'd have to have Herm check my fact on this one, but I think that back in the day there was like a midsummer free agent camp and an all-star game of the camp, which was really just a scrimmage of the camp, and that would have been great to have this summer. It would be great. I know the ice was up for a lot of the summer, but that would have been really good just to have something like that, to bring the fans out. Went to a Westerners game last night where our young, strapping co-host, Pat Frenette, was on the public address system, and the Danbury Superfans, Lisa and Roger Stalker, were in attendance. And, it would just be great to have something like that. I'm sure there's some young guys that would come out for the skate and for the All-Star game and things like that. So it'd be great to have like a nice summer kind of Hat Tricks event. I'm sure there's a ton of local college kids we could bring in and stuff like that. We could probably sell the jerseys and stuff like that from the event. So it would be great to see something like that in the future.
Yeah, and speaking of future, you announced something recently that is pretty near and dear to both of us. I mean, more so you, since you've been doing it for now 5 years going. The Mustache Classic, the 5th going at it. Tell us about it. I know we got a cool theme going for it this year, and love for you to break it down. We are coming back with the 5th annual Mustache Classic ice hockey outing for men's cancer and suicide prevention. At some point, I think we'll have kind of a more full episode on that. I'd love to get some fans to come out this year so we can get a little more donation in the kitty. We raised almost $50,000 last year. I never have high expectations for it. I kind of realized that everybody involved with it, me and all the people who play, people like yourself who get involved, everybody's taken a pretty honest approach to doing it. I don't have a lot of money but we've been able to work with a few good sponsors who've wanted to make a difference for these important issues through the game of hockey. And we've gotten people involved in this. We've gotten fans involved, former players, beer leaguers, the Zambonis. We've had Steve Carlson come down. We've had Doug Smith, who's a Hall of Famer with us. He's been a part of our organization, since the second one. It's going to be November 4th at Danbury Arena. We're hoping that a few Danbury hockey alumni are able to play this year. I got some commitments from at least one or two guys, hoping to have some people come out as well. I'm really hoping Billy McCreary's dad comes out and plays in the Mustache Classic, because I think he would just have the time of his life, and it would be great to have former NHL player just kind of stand up for the Mustache Classic a little bit and just get on that level of participation and stuff. So it's really been great for me. I was thinking about it. It's probably the best thing I ever did in my life. Just start this thing up, and I do more so than any kind of award we've won for it, or a contest we've won, or recognition we've received. Just the relationships that have formed among, beer league hockey people that have really made it their own thing, and they've all contributed in their own way, and that's a really point of pride for me, and it's a special thing that I hope to continue for as long as there's the opportunity. We've had people come from all over the United States to come participate here in Danbury, Connecticut,
in the Mustache Classic, Arizona, all over the Northeast. We had, people come in from California one time to help me out, a friend of mine, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, like I said, Arizona. The list just kind of goes. Upstate New York. People have come from all over to be a part of this, and I'm really proud of that. I can say that, in the most humble way, I'm really proud that the Mustache Classic brings people to Danbury that probably wouldn't come here. Veterans, people involved in law enforcement, like I said, people involved in hockey at every level through the years. So looking forward to it November 4th. And I would really love to see some of the Hat Trick City listeners come out for the championship game, which will probably be around noon that day. I'll confirm on a later show. But it would be great to see you come down, throw a couple bucks, whatever it is in the donation cap, because this is going to be a fun year.
Yeah, and I'm pretty hyped for it. I always am. I mean, last year working on it was nothing short of a blast. I mean, just seeing that event run for, my first time seeing it, I just loved being a part of it. I was just impressed with, what you put on and how effective it was for the cause, and just all the people that came out and were just happy to just play. Win or loss in their circle, it didn't matter. They came out and they were having
that
fun.
Came with time too. It took people a few years to realize, well, this isn't really like a tournament. I make the whole tournament about 90 minutes. It's a little more than 90 minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's about 90 minutes. So it's like the same amount of time as open hockey. We play a tournament with these cool uniforms and stuff. So it's been a great thing. And like I said, looking forward to just getting more involved with the Danbury community through it.
Yeah, now this off season, I think we're going to be coming around on a bi-weekly basis. We're going to try and keep that as best as we can for
We've
you
already
guys.
missed that, Pat. But,
Well, I'm saying for now, because now we're coming out and officially saying
when
it.
the season starts, we'll be back to one show a week. But
Yes.
we're going to be sporadic throughout the summer, and I hopefully we're going to iron out a couple of guest episodes here. But we'll be back again, when the season starts on a much more consistent basis. But yeah.
Yeah, so for now we'll have check-ins with players, and we'll, like you said, get guests on and organize all that. And I mean, for this episode, we also have a guest. That is the WestConn ice hockey head coach, Aidan Burkhard. We spoke about this upcoming season and some ideas that we have to kind of boost the program a little bit in a few different areas. So definitely stay tuned for that. And, until the next time we see you, take care and possibly come down to a baseball game. You can see me. Matt may be there.
Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, today on Hat Trick City, we got a very, very special guest, the WestConn's very own head coach, Aidan Burkhard. Aidan, how we doing today?
I'm good. I'm happy to finally be doing this. How you doing?
Doing great. I mean, season's been over since about February, so, we want to know, what have you been up to personally with coaching or recruitment?
So really, it's just the main thing is recruitment and figuring out next season. That's the biggest part. Talking to our team manager and the people who work at WestConn and figuring out what we want to do in terms of scheduling, who we want to play, even league meetings. We've had a couple of those, and there's some new teams added, so we have to figure that out. And, yeah, I mean, it's recruitment and figuring out next season's the main thing. Trying to, boost up the program, figure out strategies to get more people in attendance at our games and things like that.
Yeah, and so, we've been playing on the Danbury Ice Arena ice, the same as the Hat Tricks. And, what do you tell the students to kind of get them involved and, to come down to these games?
So, I mean, we have a social media presence. We post graphics before and after games. We post a graphic sometimes about, like, the week ahead, what we have if we have 2 or 3 games. It's tough sometimes with Danbury having, a pro team in the building and some junior programs. Obviously, that's going to take precedent over us, right? And completely understandable on their part. So sometimes, we get game slots at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and it's a little tougher to get people to come out to those. But even, there's not much of a difference in attendance right now for when we have a 7 o'clock game or an 8 o'clock game, which you would expect people to come through to. And, it's tough. It's tough to see as a former player because when I played, our stands were packed. Luckily we had, I was friends with a lot of lacrosse players. Some of the other boys were friends with lacrosse players and things like that. We had a couple football players that would come and play for us. So that drew out big crowds. And we all kind of hung out with a big friend group. We all lived at Chestnut at the time, too, or a couple of us lived at Chestnut. So obviously, if there's students listening, they know that, you're going to meet some people while you're there. And it's tough. It's understandable, too, because we're a club sport, right? We're not NCAA, so I think that kind of turns people off or maybe even makes it so they don't recognize it. I mean, when I would wear WestConn hockey stuff to class, and I know other people have done this as well, teachers and other people would be like, wait, there's a hockey team? And it's like, yeah, we have a hockey team. We play a 5-minute walk from one of the campuses here. So that's the biggest issue. Just trying to get people to come, and we're trying to combat that by working with the school and the media team to get more videos, doing club days. We're going to make sure we always have players in attendance to that. I'll be there when I can make them. We're going to put flyers up around campus, which we do every year, but it's a problem that we still haven't figured out yet. And yeah, I mean that's really it. Because a lot of it also is on the boys. Like I said, when I played, it was because we knew a lot of people and lived at Chestnut, so we had a bunch of friends that would come to the games. And another big problem we have is a lot of our players are commuters. So that makes it tough, right? Like, they really only know the boys. They may know some other people, but they're not on campus all the time. So they can't tell people. They're not hanging out in the dorms, and they can be like, to the people on their floor, like, hey, come to the games, which does work. One of our players, Gavin, did that this year.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure, like, one of the first weeks he was in the dorm, he was, like, going around knocking on doors, being like, hey, come to the hockey games when we have them. And, like, people would come for Gavin. They'd be holding up signs for him.
Yep.
So, it's on us to figure that out.
Yeah, and then, I heard through the grapevine there might be a few games possibly scheduled before a Fed game. Would you try and market that into, like, a doubleheader of sorts where we could have WestConn followed by the pro team?
Yeah, so we're trying to do that. We are trying to do that. We're talking to Nick about how to coordinate that. Shout out to Nick. He's a big help at the rink with everything from WestConn to the youth programs, so on and so forth. But yeah, that's another thing is getting the community involved, right? I mean, Danbury, after this Fed championship run they went on and won, it's kind of a hockey town now. I mean, if anybody was at those games, what it looked like during the playoffs. What it looked like during that championship season. It was a gong show, literally. Somebody in the stands had a gong. I don't even know how he got that in the rink, but yeah. So we're working with that to get the community to come, because that's another thing. And I know I keep going back to when I played, but we had community members there when we played as well. We had alumni there when I was playing. So I don't know what caused the disparity and the drop-off. I don't know if it was because at the time there wasn't a pro team when I played. Because when the hockey program started back up, it was right after the Titans ended, I believe.
Okay.
So then there wasn't really hockey besides us, at least, decently high-level hockey. There was no juniors out of there. There was youth, and then there was us. So I don't know if people were just looking for hockey to watch in the community at the time. I don't know if COVID killed it. That's also a possibility because, people talk. So they come to a game, hey, WestConn's doing good. The game was awesome to go to. And now they're telling their friends. And maybe they're telling some of the people that they used to go to the Trashers or the Titans games with. And now these people are showing up. So, Danbury's a hockey town. So we do want to get the community involved in a sense. And I think a great way to do that is by kind of doing a doubleheader with the hat tricks. We play maybe, what are their start times? 7, I believe?
7, yeah.
7, yeah. So we play, 4 o'clock.
Exactly.
4 o'clock, 4:30. Gives it enough time to get the ice, cut. People are already there. For all of you over 21, they do serve beer at our games. So, if you want to come pregame hat tricks game, you can come watch us if this happens.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the community involvement would be awesome to get because, like I said, Danbury is turning into a hockey town now. won a championship with the Fed. There's billet families all over the area now who host these junior players and things like that. But yeah, community involvement would be awesome, and we try to do things to get the community involved as well. Last year we partnered with the Junior Colonials for a game, and we had all their mites come out on the ice with us for the national anthem, and then we did a chuck-a-puck and things like that. So we want to try to do as well with a team in the area, or maybe two teams in the area, is bring their mites in and kind of do what they do at NHL games. You know, you see the kids do a shootout competition or play a little cross-ice game. But yeah, like I keep saying, it all is on us. And the rink helps out a lot, the school helps out a lot, but at the end of the day, if we're not doing our job to promote it as a team, as players, as coaches, then yeah, that's, you know, we got some figuring out to do, and we're really trying to push that and build it. Because a great thing that I would love to see is have, you know, a youth organization, a summer program in the rink. Then you have juniors, Fed, club hockey, and then, you know, hopefully one day we can get D3. So now we have from top to bottom all the way up to pro. You can start at as a mite. You can play club if maybe you can't play NCAA, D3, D2, D1, whatever WestConn ends up being when that happens. You can play college at the NCAA level, and now you can get to the Fed and you can play some level of pro hockey. And that's a goal of the rink as well. You know, we've talked to Nick, we've talked to people, and that's, you know, we're all in agreement on building out something that everybody can be successful, and we have a top-down pipeline.
Yeah. And then, you know, at these games, I know you mentioned, like, doing chuck pucks and, you know, activations like that. So would there be a plan for next season to possibly incorporate more things like that, and even during intermissions for, like, maybe students come and do, like, a little sled race or something on the ice?
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. I didn't even think about the students having something for the students to do, because currently all we ever do for students is, the DJ skate nights.
Yeah.
But again, like, sometimes if we have a late game slot, that conflicts, and now the kids are going to the DJ skate night. They're not watching us play, whatever. But that, yeah, definitely doing more things like that. Because like I said, if we're just telling the community to come, but we're also not giving them anything besides a club hockey game to watch, they may not come. They may be like, well, why the hell am I going here? You know, and that's something you do see I haven't been to any of the junior games, but that's something you see at the Fed games, right? They do things in intermissions. They have bands outside for when in their intermissions, things like that. And finding a way to incorporate something like that on a smaller level, I think, is actually a great idea, and something that we'll definitely start looking into planning for sure.
Of course. And then I know you mentioned bringing the community into it, getting involved with that. Any plans to do any type of fundraisers, whether it be going out to like a farmer's market of some sort and promoting the thing, or going to some other type of event, or creating one even?
Yeah. So yeah, we do want to do fundraisers. I'm not sure how that necessarily works though. You know, we've talked about it with Megan and Amy who run the rec sports and help us out a lot. And we're not, you know, I don't necessarily know how we go about that. I believe when I talk to them about fundraisers, it has to get approved by the school and things like that. I may be wrong, so, you know, I apologize if I am, but I'm pretty sure, you know, it has to be like school sanctioned. There has to be something. We are working with the Alumni Association a lot more now to try to get donations. Okay. If you go to WestConn Hockey online and you go to I don't know the exact link, but it's on the Rec Sports page. You can donate through there, which helps out the program a lot. Because club hockey is pay to play at this level. I don't know if all programs are. All programs may not be. Like if you get a D1 club team or something, it may not be. I'm not sure, but at this level, it is pay to play. So, you know, the boys are putting money in out of their own pockets to make it possible for this program to work and for them to pay, because there's a lot we have to pay for, right? There's buses, there's league fees, jersey costs when we get new jerseys, which the school pays for actually. But yeah, there's a lot of fees that go into ref costs, ice time, practice slots, all that stuff. So yeah, fundraisers will be key, will be huge. Things like Chuck-a-Puck can even be used as fundraisers. Maybe we do like a 50-50 when we do Chuck-a-Puck, something like that. But yeah, we're looking into fundraisers. You know, I'm not sure how to do it. and how to go about it yet, but it could be something as simple as a pancake breakfast. There's an IHOP right up the road now, so you never know.
And then, I know there's a few people listening to this show now that, have the ability to sponsor things. Is that in the cards to possibly grab sponsorships for this team? Or is that something we have to go through the school for?
I'm assuming it would have to go through the school. I wouldn't say that sponsorships aren't possible. It's not something we've talked about, truthfully, but I wouldn't say it's not possible. I'm sure, we could find a way where if you donate X amount of money, I can't say that, we're going to look like the German DEL and have, your business's logo all over our jersey. But I'm sure there's some type of sponsorship we can figure out, whether that's maybe we bring a banner to games now and we hang it behind the bench.
Bring a banner. Even some of the intermission stuff can be sponsored by whoever wants to. And
exactly. No, that's
like that.
Yeah. Or like I said, we have a banner and, it's the WestConn hockey logo, but then maybe there's some business logos in the corners or whatever. But that's something we've never talked about. You're giving me a lot of good ideas to bring up the next time I meet with them, because that's definitely a very good point. Having some type of, sponsorship or donation ranking kind of thing, where, you donate X amount of dollars, you get this, or you get your name here or there or whatever. Maybe we start making programs for the games and, this game's sponsored by so-and-so, X business, X person, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if it even comes down to it, there could be promotional nights. We can work with the rink on making like a food special for students where you bring your ID, you get X amount off of whatever. I mean, possibilities are endless with that.
Yeah, no, that's true. And that's the other thing. Our games for students, I believe, are free.
Yes.
I believe our games are free. So,
Yes,
you don't have to pay anything to come,
Yep.
Which is huge. Come out. It's fun to watch. It's physical. If you've never seen a hockey game before, I can guarantee you'll love it. People can tend to get rowdy at hockey games. I know when we had fans, they would be going crazy. When I played, we had a group of kids that we called the Goon Squad, my first year coaching. And yes. Goon Squad, if you're listening, we're all pretty upset that you showed up to one home game this year. But these kids were nuts. They'd be behind the other team's bench yelling and chirping the other team and things like that, which, that's all part of the game. And it helped the boys out a lot, motivational wise, morale wise. So, having fans there definitely helps. It makes a big difference. And you can notice it. I mean, our first game of the season was against Sacred Heart, who came off an undefeated run in the regular season and then lost in the championship. So they were coming back out for that first game of the season. It was both of our first games this past season. They were coming out, ready to prove that this is still our league. And we had a good amount of fans there. I believe the dance team or the cheer team came, one of the two. I apologize if I'm not naming the right sport there, but they came and you could tell the game was high scoring. It went into a shootout. I think the game, it was 5-5 going into the shootout, I believe, something like that. 5-5, 6-6.
Yeah,
something
I want to say
there.
It was 5-5 because I remember being a 6-5 final.
Yeah, something like that. And and it was back and forth. Sacred Heart opened up the scoring, I believe, in like the first minute or so. And we're sitting on the bench as coaches going, "Oh shit, here comes Sacred Heart," and they had the fans behind them. So then we'd score, and now the fans are going nuts. Sacred Heart would score again, but the fans are still going nuts. So it makes a difference when you have fans there. It really does. Because obviously the boys want to show out. They want to prove to the school that, hey, club hockey is a real sport. It's a big sport. And the school does realize that. There's a lot of good that comes from club hockey, and it's only getting bigger. I mean, after the stadium series this year, down at NC State, I believe, was where they had it.
Yes.
UNC and NC State played a game that was outdoors on the same rink the D1 schools played on the same rink that the NHL teams played on like a night or two before.
Yep.
And they had a record crowd for club sports, club hockey.
It was crazy.
And
it was
like
25,000 people.
Yeah, it was insane. And that's D1 club, but it shows that club hockey is something. Because a lot of these big schools, due to Title IX, they can't necessarily fund a hockey team yet, because now they have to figure out, okay, what sport are we going to add for the girls, right? So that's what Title IX is. If you have a sport for boys, you have to add a sport for girls, and they have to have the same amount of funding and allocation and whatever. So, they have, a lot of these schools have football, so then they add, some other type of D1 sport, but now they have to figure out, if we're going to add hockey, men's hockey, okay, what do we have to add? And maybe they can't bring in women's hockey players yet, so now they have to think of another sport, which can't happen. So instead, it's, okay, we're going to have a club team. And that's why you're seeing schools like Alabama get club now. Miami have club. Like, Kentucky has club.
Florida State, I believe, has club.
Yep, and they all do these cool little things. Like, I believe it's Kentucky and Louisville, I want to say. Their club teams do this thing called, I think it's like the midnight game or something. Yeah. And they pack the stands. The whole rink is full. They play at midnight. And it's crazy, and there's tons of people there, and like club hockey is fun to watch. I know people hear club sports and they're like, there's no way it could be that good hockey, but it's not bad hockey at all. You have some legit players who are in these who, played juniors, played decently high level hockey, and now maybe they don't want to do that grind of a D3 or a D1, and now so they're going to play club, and some schools only have D3 club. So now you're getting kids who could possibly play D2, D1 club, but they're playing for D3 because that's the school they're at, right? So,
yeah, and then, bringing students to games, obviously one way to bring them in, but are there any opportunities within the club that they could possibly intern in?
I'm sure there are. I know one thing we've discussed is a social media intern. Posting on social, creating graphics. We have somebody who takes pictures and for us, and she does a great job. Shout out Sophie for that. And, I'm sure we could get a team manager or something along the lines of that as an internship, right? I mean, I think every other sport probably has a team manager. I'm sure. I don't know for sure, but they probably do. And so there are roles available. Like if you are interested in helping out the hockey team, and maybe you love hockey but you can't skate or you never played before, shoot us a DM on Instagram. You could just shoot us a DM on Instagram and be like, hey, I'm interested in helping out. Like, I can't play, but I'm interested in helping out. I love the game, blah blah blah, and we can figure something out for you. Because we're always looking for that extra help. We're always looking for things that are going to push the program forward, because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to expand this so that we can have D3, D2, D1 club, and then hopefully we can get that NCAA title somewhere. Any interest or any ideas you have, even if you're like, I could see possibly helping out the hockey team by doing this and it could be an internship, shoot us a message on Instagram. We'll answer for sure.
Of course, and, to anyone that's listening to this that's, incoming freshmen or, you're just getting used to the school, the radio station likes to broadcast, all the sports. And if you're into hockey, we've done hockey before, and if you want to do the season, then go right ahead and come to XCI. You can talk to myself, as I'm the program director, so I can help you out, direct you to our sports director, and he can help you with, how to commentate games. If you already know, if you want to try some out, we can definitely get you set up on that. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to the season. Do we have any dates set yet as to maybe home opener, season opener?
No, I don't believe we have any dates yet. That's something that's still getting worked out. We should soon. So again, like any information, just follow us on Instagram. It'll be posted there. We'll probably make a graphic up with our whole schedule when that drops.
And then what's your tag for those listening?
Our exact tag is, I know you can just search WCSU hockey or WestConn hockey, but the exact tag is WestConn hockey.
Okay.
It's WestConn hockey. Yeah, you can follow us there.
On Instagram, right?
On Instagram, yes, on Instagram. We're only on Instagram right now, I believe. We haven't done anything on Twitter or anything like that yet. But again, that's something we're open to. I know a lot of the other programs do Twitter. I know Stack does. I know Shoe does and things like that, and they update, like live update the game. So that would be, again, if you are looking to get into marketing and you want to potentially intern for us, like, again, hit us up, because that's something you could help do. Because marketing is our biggest thing right now, right? Like I said, we got to get the community involved, we got to get the school involved more, and the way to do that is through marketing. And
Of course, Coach, thank you for coming on. We're definitely going to have you on as a regular on Hat Trick City for the season coming up. Even some of the players too. I definitely think we'll probably have them in here, talk to them about their game and just their background overall.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome. Thanks for having me.
Of course.